Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Gift and you're welcome to Gift and Couture. So in today's tutorial I will be sharing with you how I use 1 inch elastic, not 1 yard, 1 inch elastic to sew the band and how to use the rope. So if this is your first time of coming across my channel, please do also like, share, comment, subscribe. Let's get started. So the first thing you are going to do is to get your hip measurement. All right, we are using our hip measurement plus an addition. So let's say your hip plus either 10 inches or 12 to 15 inches depending on how big you want your baggy to be. All right, so let's say I'm going to use 10 here. So my hip is 39 plus 10 inches, so add it up together, you have 49. So 49 divided by 4, you have like 12 point something, 12.3, 12.4. All right, whatever you have, whatever your hip is, just add to the measurement. So we have to do this calculation because this will help us determine how we are going to fold the fabric, because we are not wasting any fabric. All right, so add it up together, and then so since it's an actual baggy and we are not using our actual type measurement, so we are going to divide our hip, divide your hip by 4. All right, let's say my hip is 40 divided by 4, I will have 10. Okay, so 10 divided by 4, or just divide your hip by 8, whatever you have. So that will help us determine the length of our thigh measurement, since we are not using our actual thigh for this tutorial. So let's say 10 divided by 4, you get 2.5. So that 2.5, we are going to add it to the first measurement, which is 12.3 or 12.5, whatever you have. That's after adding your either 10 to 12 inches depending on what you want to your hip measurement. All right, so let's go ahead and fold the fabric. So that means we have 14.8 or 15, let's just say 15 inches. Okay, so that will be the wideness of the short baggy. So let's go ahead and fold the fabric. All right, so just like this, I've already gone ahead to fold this in like this, and that's 14.8. You can use 15 if you want. So anyways, at the end of the day, I finally used 15 inches because the baggy has to be big. So if you have your 2 inches band, you can still minus the 2 inches, just like what I'm going to be doing. And if you have your 1 inch elastic, okay, you can still do it this way. Like I said, I actually use 1 inch elastic for this tutorial. The band is 2 inches. So to get your crotch length, you're going to divide your hip by 3 inches. So my hip is 40 divided by 3, you have 12.6 or 12.5, whatever the case may be. So that will help us determine the length of the crotch. Okay, so now first thing first, you are going to minus 2 inches. That's what we are using for the band. Like I said, if we have the band, the elastic band of 2 inches, follow this method. If we have 1, you can still follow this method because I used 1 inch. So that 12.5 is going to be a crotch, and then the length of the short is 22. I used 22 plus the hemming allowance, which is 1.5. So from there, I went ahead to, remember we have 12.3 or 12.5 after dividing the crotch. So now let's go ahead and measure the length of our hip. To get your hip length, you are going to use 8 to 8.5. If you are tall, you can use 9 inches. So actually use 8.5 here because the trouser is not fitted. Okay, so on that hip measurement, you are going to go ahead and divide your thigh measurement on it, and on the crotch length, remember we've already gotten the measurement for the thigh. You are going to mark the same measurement there and then add the 2.5. Okay, let's see, the first line is 12.5, this second line is 2.5. Now the distance from that 2.5 to where you mark the 12.5, divide it by 2 and then connect it just like the way you are seeing on the screen. Go ahead and mark the same thing on your fabric. Now the measurement you have on your hip measurement, you are going to use the exact thing on your waist since it's going to be an elastic baggy. All right, so just like this. Now the measurement you have on the crotch length, you're going to extend it to your actual length. So if you're sewing a trouser on it with this, you can use the exact measurement. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and cut it just like this, and then let's just go ahead and add 1 inch to it, because though at the end of the day I folded 2 inches, because when I wore it the 22 was kind of too long, so I had to fold 2 inches instead of 1. So let's go ahead and cut it. So now let's go ahead and fold the hemming line. So just like this, I'm going to fold 1.5. Like I said, I folded 2 at the end of the day. So fold the 1.2 inches, okay? And then let's go ahead and slit the side. Remember, there is no dart because it's baggy. All right, so when you are done, let's go ahead and cut the back. So you're going to fold your fabric into 2 like this, and then remember the back has to be bigger or wider than the front. So place the front and the waist should be like this. So you're going to extend the crotch length. So on the crotch length, you're going to go out by 3 inches to 3.5, and the same measurement you have here, you can take it downward. You can either reduce it or you use the same measurement. All right, go ahead and mark it like this, connect it, and on the hip length, you are not going to leave it like that. You're going to increase it as well, either by 2 inches or 1.5. So connect from the crotch measurement to the hip length, and on the waist length you can connect the same thing or just add to it because the baggy is already big. All right, I'll just go ahead and add 1 inch on the waist length and then connect it. So on the upper waist, you're going to go up by 1.5 and then connect it slantly like this. So just like this, we are done cutting the back. So let's go ahead and cut it out. And please, if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, kindly do well to subscribe, because that's the only way you can support me. All right, thank you so much. So now that we are done cutting, let's go ahead and slit the back as well. So now for the pocket, you are going to go to the side and mark 1 inch. Please mark 1, not 1.5. So mark 1 inch. So away from that 1 inch, mark 6.5. So that will be the length of our pocket. So go ahead and notch it just like this. Notch it on this side. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut the upper part. We have to cut the upper part before cutting the pocket because the fabric is not up to 3 yards. So for me, my half length is 17.5. That's my front half length. So I'm going to be using 19 inches as the top length, and then I'll go ahead and add 1 inch for the hemming line. Okay, so after marking that, you can see the way I place my table. Next thing is to go ahead and divide my shoulder into 2 and then mark it. Go ahead and do the same thing. So after marking that, go down by 1.5 and then connect it. That's to get the shoulder slant. You are going to go up by half an inch and mark it. That's going to be your shoulder joining. So from there, you are going to go ahead and mark your bust point, mark your half length as well. So to get your measurement, since it's a free top, you are going to be using your actual hip measurement. For example, my hip is 39 and I'll just add 1 to it, making 40. So I went ahead to divide the 40 inches into 4, which is 10, and then mark it there. Okay, so you're going to go, if you want your own to be free, you can mark it and then add your seam allowance. The same measurement you have on the bust area, you're going to take it to the waist area. Remember, it's a free top, so you're just going to go ahead and connect it. Now to get the armhole, you're going to divide your hip measurement into 6 and then mark it on that line. That will be your across chest. So your across chest measurement, you're just going to remove half inch from your shoulder measurement and then mark it. Then go ahead and divide the distance. bust measurement to your cross chest, divide it into four and then connect it just like this. Just like this, we are going to go ahead and divide from your shoulder to your cross chest, whatever you have, divide it into two, and on the midpoint you are going to go in by 0.5 and then connect it just like this. So let's go ahead and cut it. So we are done cutting. Let's go ahead and cut the back as well. So you're going to fold your fabric into two like this and then place the front on it. Since it's the back, the difference between the front and the back is just the armhole measurement. You know, the front armhole is different from the back armhole. So let's go ahead and add to it. So you're going to cross check your shoulder back measurement. Okay, your shoulder back measurement, your across back measurement, and then add to it. Okay, so for the armhole, just go ahead and add half an inch or 0.7 to it if you don't know how to measure your across back measurement, and then connect it. So let's go ahead and cut it. So I'm gonna have to cut it out. That's the front and the back. Now it's time to cut the neckline. So for the neckline, I didn't want the V to be too deep, so I actually used 3 inches as the neck width, and then I went down by 7 inches. So if you want your own to be a little bit deeper, you can use 8 to 9 inches. So after marking that, I went ahead to connect it. You can see 7.5 to it. It's actually 7, but you know I'm still going to hold the shoulder joining by half an inch, so it will now reduce to 7. All right, so for the neck, I went down by 2 inches and then connect it this same thing. So go ahead and cut yours. Okay, so for the armhole measurement, let's go ahead and cross check our armholes so that we'll be able to cut the sleeves. All right, so let's mark out the seam allowance, and then from that seam allowance, away from that seam allowance, measure it to where you mark half inch for your shoulder. So I needed to cut the sleeves first because you can see the fabric wasn't much, and then I wanted it to be a longer sleeve, but when I realized it was the fabric was not much, I had to reduce the sleeve length. So first of all, mark the length of your sleeves, then come down by 4 inches. That will be your biceps, and then connect your armhole just like this. So next thing is to go ahead and take your armhole measurement. Remember what you got, and from there connect it. Okay, I wanted the sleeve same thing to be a little wider. Let's say if my bicep is 10, I wanted the length, the sleeve length to be like 12 inches, but the fabric wasn't enough, and then I went ahead to cut it. So the length of the sleeves that I use is actually 17, but if you have enough fabric, you can use your actual sleeve length, which is like 23 24. That is if you want it to be very long. So this is the remaining fabric. Let's go ahead and cut the pocket. So first of all, you are going to fold your fabric like this because we are cutting 4 pieces of pocket at the same time. So fold it like this. You can see I folded it again, and now you are going to go ahead and measure the length of the sleeves, the pocket rather. Remember, I used 6.5 to get the pocket length. So first thing, you are going to measure the length of your pocket. That's the actual length, and then remember I use 6.5, so you are going to measure 8.5 as the pocket width, because you are going to sew 1 inch on this side and 1 inch on this side, and go ahead and connect it just like this. Okay, so when you are done, go ahead and cut it out. You can see the way I shape it to look like a U shape. Okay, so let's go ahead and minus 1 inch. You are going to measure 1 inch, which is what you are going to sew round after facing the pocket, and then next thing is to measure the distance, which is the 6.5. okay, so when you are done, go ahead and notch it on both sides. This will help you know where to fix your pocket and where to end it. So this is the knicker. You're going to sew 0.7 like this, mark it on both front and the back. All right, Now for the side, you are going to sew from where you notch the pocket downward, and the side where you notch 1 inch, you are going to top stitch it. And when you are done, you're going to open it up like this and then pick your pocket. You are going to use two on each side where you mark, where you notch the 1 inch, and then you're going to start sewing from there. So sew there and then add another pocket to this side, and then go ahead and follow the same method of sewing. Remember, where you notch, you are going to start sewing from where and ends where you also notch. Okay, now let's go ahead and sew it. So when you are done, make sure you top stitch it, because this way it will allow the pocket to relax properly. All right, you can see that's the reason I said let me show you guys. So next thing is to go ahead and sew it round. That means you're sewing the 1 inch round. Okay, the next thing is to go ahead and measure the round circumference, the circumference of the waist after joining, because this will help us determine the length of the band that we are going to be using. So measure it and then go ahead and cut your band. So this is the band that I'm going to be using, and the length of the band is more than the actual waist of the knicker or the baggy. All right, so because I'm using 2 inches band in total, I want to cut the length of the band to be 5.5. So I'm going to go ahead and divide it into two, because I want the front to have rope. So I'll just go ahead and divide it into two, just like this. So now that I'm done, I'm going to pick one. All right, I'm going to pick one and then mark the center. So because I don't have the looping machine, but if you have, you can and divide it. You don't have to divide this into two. I mean the band, you don't have to divide it into two, but because I'm using the manual looping, like the manual method, so I'm just going to go ahead and divide the center into two. First of all, I'll go ahead and notch the center. All right, so from that center, like I said, if you have the looping machine, okay, or the highlight machine, rather the highlight machine, you are going to use either 1.5 or 1 inch as a distance. But because I don't have, I'm going to be using 2 inches as a distance, because I'm still going to cut that side. So from the center, I'll mark 2 inches on this side and then 2 inches on this side. So I'll go ahead and cut them out, okay, and then join them. Anyways, I'm still going to show you how I did it. So I'm going to cut them out like this. I'll cut this one out. Remember, that is not the center. So it's the sides that I marked 2 inches and this other side. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out like this. Just follow this method, but there is a way you are going to sew it. You are just going to leave like 0.7 inch and then go ahead to sew the upper part and the lower part, but the 0.7 inch should be in the middle. But if you have your machine highlights, okay, your highlight machine rather, you don't need to go through this trace. You're just going to use your highlight and open the hole. Okay, so I'm gonna ahead to sew it. You can see the hole there, and I'm just going to go ahead and sew those joining down. So here I've gone ahead to sew it. You're going to go ahead and do the same thing as well. You can see how it's properly open. So you can see I can easily put my finger there. And next thing is to go ahead and join the other band that you cut out. Remember, this side will be inside and the one that has the opening will be outside. Okay, so here I've gone ahead to join it. You can go ahead and do the same thing as well. All right, go ahead and fold it back. There are two ways to this, but I'll just show you this method. Maybe in one other tutorial I'm still going to show you. Like I said, I'm going to be using 1 inch elastic, so I'm just going to sew the length, the line where the elastic would be. Remember, the elastic is 1 inch, and I'm just going to go ahead to sew like 1.2, so that it will be easier for the elastic to pass through and be relaxed. Okay, so just like this, I've gone ahead to sew it. And then now, to determine the length of your waist or the length of how the band will be, you're going to drag it out like this. If it's more than your hip measurement, then it's fine. Remember, I'm using hip 40, so what I got there is 44. So you can see that there are still some excesses. So when you are done, you're going to go ahead and stop stitch the elastic side, and then All right, you're going to go ahead to create a channel for the rope rather. All right, so just go ahead and sew it. So this is rope that I'm going to be using. The rope is 1.2. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and fold the rope into two. Go ahead and do the same thing. You're going to go ahead and sew the rope into two, and when you are done it should look like this. So this is how you are going to sew it. Make sure you sew it properly and neatly like this, and then go ahead and insert the rope where you created the channel. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and pass the rope just like this, and then when you are done, remember you're going to divide this rope into two. And another thing is the rope has to be longer than the band itself. There is no specific measurement for this. Okay, so one side, like I said, the rope has to be more than the band. Let's say that your total waist is 44. Let's say you can make the rope to be 60. All right, so when you are done, you're going to go ahead and sew it, and then just like this you are going to put it round the waist. Okay, you can see how the rope is. If you want it to be longer than that, you can go ahead and do it. So but make sure you weave it, because I was just lazy to weave this cloth when I was sewing, but I'm still going to do it. But make sure you weave it so that you have a neat work, and make sure you cut off your threads when you are sewing. All right, anyways, my voice is not loud right now because my baby is sleeping. Just bear with me. All right, and if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please kindly do so. Now how you're going to fix the band, the joining side has to go to the back and the rope to the front. All right, so go ahead and join it, and make sure when you are sewing it, make sure you stretch the band as well so that it will go round. So this is how the band looks. This is how it came out, and I expect yours to be like this or even more. So next thing is to go ahead and top stitch the elastic. You can top stitch it as much as you can. Now this is how to top stitch it. When you are top stitching the elastic, you have to drag it so that the fabric will not be squeezing on it. So drag it so that the elastic and the fabric will align on each other. All right, so when you are done, now you can go ahead and cut out your thread. Remember, you are always going to cut out your threads when you are sewing, and when you are done it should look like this. You can see how it is. All right, so we are done, and this is the baggy short. So next thing is to go ahead and continue sewing. So I'm gonna ahead to sew the hemming line. Go ahead and do the same thing as well, and this is the top. First thing, you are going to go ahead and join the shoulder. So when you are done, before joining the shoulder, you are going to cut the facing if you have enough fabric, and if you don't have enough fabric, you can use bias. But I didn't have bias of this color. I decided to use this strap to turn the neckline after joining the shoulder. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this to sew the neckline, and after that I went ahead to iron it. You must always iron your clothes after you finish is sewing. All right, you don't have to completely finish sewing before you iron your clothes. So when I'm done, after I was done rather, I went ahead to sew the sides. You are going to go ahead and do the same thing, and then when you are done, you are going to go ahead and sew the sleeves as well. Just sew 1 inch as the hemming line, join the sleeves. Okay, so even after you finish sewing the sleeve, you have to iron it. You can see the way I'm doing it. Like I said, you don't have to completely finish sewing before you start ironing. As you are sewing, you have to iron as well if there is time for that. But it's always important to do this because your clothes will come out neatly sewn and well fitted. So go ahead and iron the side just like this. You can see the way I'm doing it. Even after you finish ironing, you can still go ahead and weave it. But in my own case, I wanted to finish sewing before everything. So now that I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and fix the sleeves. So after fixing the sleeves, I went ahead to sew the hemming line, and that was it. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel and you've watched this video to this point, please, I'm begging you, the only way you can support me is for you to subscribe, like, share this video, with your friends, and don't forget to drop a lovely comment for me so you can always get notification whenever I post a new video. So thank you so much for watching. So this is the process. Even after I finish joining the sleeves, I had to iron it. Please go ahead and do the same thing. Always make sure you iron your clothes as you are sewing. So after that, I went ahead to sew the hemming line and also went ahead to iron it. So this is what I mean. Go ahead and iron it. In my next video, I may not show all this process, but when I say go ahead and iron your clothes, this is what I mean. All right. So thank you so much for watching. If you've watched this video to this point, God bless you.